Hello, everybody. So glad to have you here. So it's gonna be me and the buds. So go ahead and share your info.
I'm Joharra from The Witchy Reader. On my channel, I talk mostly about fantasy and the books that I write.
Nice. I'm Robin from the book Wormhole. I mostly do science fiction on my channel. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. So are you guys gonna be reading for the sprint?
Yeah.
I
I need
think
to
I
get.
am, yeah.
So let me actually get my book.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna be reading The Last Beautiful Girl. I'm actually doing it in general. I want to read it, but also it works for the Desert-a-thon TBR because one of them is like
Ooh.
read a book outside your usual genre, and this is like kind of like a horror, scary story kind of one. So I'm a little curious.
Yeah.
Can I handle it? Because actually I binged Stranger Things 4 like on my vacation, and that was so freaky. I can't believe that's still a part of Stranger Things. Like, I'm a little traumatized. But I mean, after I watched it, I was fine. But it was like, oh my gosh, this is way too intense. So at first, I thought I was gonna have like more of like a book cleanse, but it's actually very interesting so far. I only got to part one. Oh wait, chapter two. I got to chapter two, so I read the prologue and chapter one. But so far so good. It sounds pretty interesting. But yeah, horror. I'm a little scared, but I hope it's good. So what are you guys gonna be reading?
I will be reading The Rise of Kiyoshi. Something
Ooh.
I've been wanting to read for a while. It's part of the show Avatar: Last Airbender, and I'm a huge fan of that. So I'm excited to dive a little deep into one of the previous avatars.
Is it
Awesome.
a graphic novel or is that prose?
It's an actual book. There's two of them.
Okay.
It's a duology, and there is a second one which I do not own, but I have to go to the library. I'm hoping to go to the library Monday to get When We Were Magic, so I'll just get the sequel then.
Yeah, nice. I couldn't tell just because of the cover. I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like it might be a graphic novel.
Nope.
But no, that's really cool. I didn't know that actually existed. I'm going to be reading When We Were Magic, which is a buddy read Joharra and I are doing this month. I've been reading it as an ebook, which is new to me. And I've been really enjoying it. I'm at 50%, or I think I'm at 52%. So I've been really tearing through it. So
I'm
That's
behind. I
awesome.
really need to get it.
I think you're gonna like it. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of the season of American Horror Story where they're witches. So I think if you like that, which I know you did like that season, Johar, you'll probably like the book too.
Fun.
You said that you're doing the Desert-a-thon, Tiffany. I haven't heard of that readathon.
Oh,
What is it?
yeah. It's not Desert-a-thon. Desert-a-thon was May. What's
Okay.
cool is the Esme, she's the one who did Desert-a-thon. Uh, Apparently, because I used to say it like that. I used to be like Desert-a-thon, and it's like it's Desert-a-thon. But actually, what's cool is she and some other people came up with the Desert-a-thon TBR. So it's like certain prompts. Let me just pull up my TBR. Eggs, part of a series. Flour, favorite genre. Whipped cream. Pie. I don't know how you say that. Phyllo dough, something like that.
Oh,
Milk.
Philo? Yeah.
Yeah, probably something like that. Milk and puff pastries. So, some very cute little things like that. But I'm probably not gonna do because there's like this whole prompt thing. They have like recipes and stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm just starting to get back into reading, so I'm just gonna try and read what I can. But I already did one prompt. I read this very short story. It was like 34 pages. So I was able to get the novella short story prompt. So that's nice for this month. But that wasn't a good book. But at least it was only 34 pages. But I am looking forward to this book. I think it could be very good. And I'm very pleased about the cover. Actually,
It is a cool
when I was
cover.
reading the prologue, they were talking about, because it's like this other girl, she goes into this house, this abandoned house, and that's what the kind of the setting for the main character it's going to be, because it's like the house is the creepy thing. But this girl goes into this house, even though it's abandoned, it's literally boarded up, but apparently the back entrance is open. And it's like, it's weird. It was like the first page or something, or second page was describing like, even though there was like no light, it was like pitch black. Somehow the house was like kind of lit. It was calling to her. It's like, that's exactly when you run. You don't go to the house. But it was kind of interesting where it was like, there's all these portraits of this girl. She's got like brown hair, whatever. And at first I'm like, it's the girl. I mean, obviously I'm sure it's like the curse, whatever. At first I was like, it's the main girl. And it's like, hello, she's got pink hair on the cover. So I'm sure it's not her. I don't know. For some reason I always am like, it's the main character. It's like, no. So far I am interested in it so far. I just hope it doesn't get too creepy. I really don't want to go through another Stranger Things 4 situation. That was too disturbing. Like, I'm cool with like serial killers, murderers, whatever, but possession, spiritual happenings,
that's what I prefer.
That's where I draw the line.
That's where I prefer. Those are so much more interesting. I'm not into
it's too creepy
with serial. That's the amazing part of it. I love creepy things. I'm a weird person, but I've been watching horror movies since I was little, so I just love the creepy factor. I mean, one of my all-time favorite thriller is The Conjuring, which is a true story.
Creepy! How dare you? Creepy! I'm just gonna hide. I'm done.
I finally watched The Conjuring 3 recently, and I loved it.
I haven't seen the third one yet, so
good.
I actually didn't find the first two that scary. But I watched them like as an adult. I watched them like last year or something. So.
I watched the first one when it was in theaters. I haven't theaters. Yeah. I remember because it's actually a funny story. It was after I first moved to Florida for a little while, and my aunt, who I hadn't been able to see except for a couple times a year, was trying to hang out with each one of my siblings and me, to get to know us a little bit, since she has lived in Florida pretty much all our lives. And she took me to the movies, and she said I could pick out whatever movie I want to watch, and I chose The Conjuring, of course. That was when I saw that, I got so excited because I've been wanting to watch it because I saw the trailers for it. It looked so good, and she was surprised. She was like, "Wait, you like this creepy stuff?" Because she's big on horror movies, and I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like 13.
A bonding moment between the two of you. That's great.
I was like 13, and then after the horror movie, after the movie was over, my aunt called my mom and was like, I'm sorry I took her to see the scary movie. I don't know if you let her watch scary movies. And she was like, it's no big deal, I mean, by that time I already watched Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street, and my sister Fantasia watched American Pie. So she was like, oh, it's fine. But yeah, so it was like this bonding moment because I just love scary movies, and I just absolutely love the Conjuring franchise.
Nice. Have you seen season 4 of American Horror Story, Stranger Things, Joharra? Because I know Tiffany just said she had. I haven't seen it yet, so.
It's so good.
Is it? I didn't like season 3 that much, so I kind of am a little discouraged to continue watching.
Yeah,
that was my favorite.
Really? It was too busy for me.
So here's my opinion. So, Stranger Things season 1, absolutely loved it.
Yes.
Top tier, great show. Season 2 very much disappointed me. Even now, like I'm more like, I've done some rewatches of it, and now I'm more like, okay, but it's still very much, I mean, like Stranger Things season 1, 2, you can't even see it. It was just such a disappointment. It just is not on tier, whatever. But when I first watched Stranger Things 3 when it came out, because I binged it, of course, I really liked it. I kind of liked like how, they're kind of more adults. They're more like growing up and everything. And like the horror, I just thought the horror was kind of cool. Like I actually did like the show. I did feel like the Russian subplot was a little, they could have avoided that. And I liked this one video, some reviewer person was talking about the fact that a big sell of Stranger Things is the mystery. Like, you don't know what's
Mhm.
going on until the end, and but then the mystery was 100% lost. Like, uh wow, how is this happening? The Russian.
Yeah.
Like, we know, like, they basically told us everything right away. And I did try to do a rewatch of season 3 because I did a rewatch of 1, 2, and I was gonna go to 3 and I couldn't. It was just too boring. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling what you're saying, Robin, where it's like, eh. And
It
honestly, let's just set aside the additional horror elements. It's clear Stranger Things is just lasting more than it needs to. Now, again, hey, Joharra, you seem to like it. It depends on the person. But for me, with what I liked about Stranger Things, it seems to be losing it, and I'm not liking it as much. Now, there's this, it's not a spoiler. It's just
that's
there's
okay.
an element. One, if you were to watch an episode, you should definitely watch episode 4. That is like actually like really good, cinematic, really good. But overall, it just disappointed me. But again, it also creeped me out. I didn't like the stuff that was going on there. Too creepy.
I thought that season 3 there was too many characters they were
A
following, and
hundred
therefore
percent.
no
Yeah.
one had a solid storyline.
Yeah.
You know, and even like Joyce and
Hopper.
Hopper, like, you know, I've been wanting them to get together since season 1, and then they finally entertained them as a ship, and like I didn't
Then
like
he
them anymore. They were
dies.
just too like, I don't know. I just like I really hated how they actually did the relationship, and yeah, like no one really had a steady plot line because there's just
Well,
so many characters that they're
that's
No,
following.
that's
no,
one thing I liked about it.
I totally agree with you though, Robin, that the way they had it where it was like the guy she had been with in season 2 like had died. Like, she's not ready
Yeah,
to move on, and just in
right.
general she's doing other things. Like, he was way too desperate, and like every single day he's like, want to go on a date, want to go on a date, blah 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 blah. It's like, this is exactly when you're not going to get a date. Like,
Right.
I didn't like the fact that it was more like he had to break her instead. Like, it's like, aren't we past this? I thought
Yeah.
we were more progressive, man. But
On
Yeah, it
season
felt
3, sorry, what?
I was gonna say it felt very much like, yeah, he was just trying to wear her down, which is
right,
like a romance trope I absolutely
exactly,
despise. And like that wasn't the reason why I liked that ship in the first place. They just
exactly.
had a very natural chemistry in like the first season, you know. Sorry, Jahar, what were you gonna say?
In season 3, I like that they all had their own plot lines, and yeah, it could be a lot, but what the thing is, they were all split up, but um all their different plot lines, all their different storylines intertwined at the end. It all came together perfectly, if you ask me.
I
Um,
think it didn't do as good of a job with that as the first 2 seasons have, because like the first season they did such a good job with like the teenagers versus the kids versus the adults, where they all have like this, like there's like 3 different plot lines between them, and it does all come together in the end, and they're all working for the same thing. I feel like the last season, like yes, it did come together, but it felt very okay. People are here because they need to be here at this moment. Like, we're trying to make it convenient when the plot isn't actually working. Like, none of it really worked, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just think the earlier seasons did that better. I feel like maybe they need to ignore some characters that, you know, like don't have like any relevancy in it. Like, I think like Nancy's plot, like was like non-existent in
Mm-hmm.
the last season, and I'm like, why is Nancy here? Like, you know, like I know she was like really important in the last 2 seasons, but like she didn't do anything. She was just there.
Yeah, she was doing the journalistic thing, but
It never resolves.
it wasn't enough.
It
It
literally
was too
like
slow.
it goes away the moment it's too inconvenient to
Mm-hmm.
carry on with, because I thought like, oh, okay, like here she's trying to break out in journalism and she's not being taken seriously because she's a woman, so like obviously by the end, you know, she's gonna uncover like this huge plot with like the mall or whatever, and that's gonna be her big break or something. and it doesn't go there at the end. It's
Mhm.
just like the very end is like everyone moving on, and I'm like, you set up so much and you didn't carry through with like any of it.
Yeah.
I get really anal about like writing in TV, which is why I
Right.
don't watch a lot of TV because it's not solid most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I would say too is the fact of how they treated the character of Billy. Like,
Hmm.
not once was he a good person in season 2, and somehow they're gonna redeem him. No thanks. I
Right?
don't like that.
The
And
whole thing with
like,
like Max like feeling guilty for him, and like
right,
it's well established that like first of all they're not blood related, you know, they're step siblings, and like second of all like he tormented her like every
exactly.
single day pretty much since like they become a family. Like why would she
Yeah,
Well,
have
the
any
point
empathy for him
exactly,
whatsoever?
exactly.
the point was that he it was trying to show you why he was the way he was, and because he does have a sad backstory, and it does explain that because I don't believe anything is black and white, and it does explain why he is the way he is. I mean, even in season 2, I think it did slightly try to lead up to his redemption in season 2, just because you do learn a little bit that his dad is abusive.
Hmm.
You see that you see that like a little bit in one scene that his dad is abusive to him, and he was put to blame because they couldn't find Max, and it was like it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
So it did kind of try to lead up to it slightly, it was very simple, and it didn't try to show it too much at first.
Yeah.
But in season 3 you learn more about his mom and everything, and you kind of understand why he is the way he is. And with Max, it's not that it's that yeah, the two of them didn't like each other, but all of a sudden he uh dies saving her and her friends, and now she has all these mixed feelings because she doesn't know how to feel about that, which she does address in season 4. She's talking to his grave, and she does address those feelings. She's like, she's like, I don't understand why I was so sad, or she doesn't say that, but it's like she's basically saying that she has all these mixed feelings because the two of them hated each other, but then all
Hmm.
of a sudden he dies to save them. And she said she thinks that if he lived, they could have grown to become friends or something. So she
I
does
think
address that.
the scene that I was thinking about that didn't make sense, and I don't remember this in detail. I've only seen season 3 once, but it was like I think like Billy was like being locked up or something, and like he was trying to appeal to her or something to like take pity on him and like release
Hmm.
him.
Yeah.
That was the scene that didn't make sense to me because up until that point, like as far as like from Max's point of view, like this guy's has always been a jerk to her, and like here's
And
this really dangerous situation. Why would
and
she take pity on him? Sorry,
exactly.
Tiffany.
Exactly. And I just want to say, like, I understand what you're saying, Joharra. However, I just want to say, not every character deserves a redemption arc. And just because you understand why they're acting the way they are, that doesn't mean they deserve to be redeemed. Just because you understand, okay, something bad happened to them. Think about all these awful things, like what they reveal about a villain in a lot of these horrible, awful, awful stories. Just because something bad happened to them in their childhood, let's not forget that a lot of heroes have horrible things that happen to them. They chose they chose the
I
life
mean, look at
they were
Elle.
going for. And I'm just saying
Yeah,
that, like,
especially Elle.
to try to redeem that guy. No, he was awful. And why was he was always wanting to attack Lucas and always trying. How about the fact in the first episode of season 2, he was literally trying to run them over? I mean, that is so abusive. So no, I will not be sympathetic or sorry about what happened to Billy. I'm happy he's gone.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, I definitely get that. Season 3 is my favorite, but I think I like all the seasons, but I think season 2 would be my least favorite.
Yeah.
And season 4 wasn't as good as season 3. I don't think. I did like this season, but there was one thing that kind of had me angry. I don't want to say anything because Robin still hasn't watched it. But
Joharra, can you message me what you're talking about so I can check on Twitter or something?
yeah, like the entire time this was going on, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
I'll have to guess what you guys are talking about when I actually watch
Yeah.
it.
Well, that kind of reminds me. The first thing that the first little thing they have at the start of the season, I really hated that. I won't say what it is, but it kind of made me feel like you're ruining the canon. I mean, they explain later, but I was very upset and annoyed, and like I just think Stranger Things went way too hard this season. They went way too brutal. I did not like what they were doing here. Like I've been liking more of like this soft, intense, dramatic. Like there's a way to do horror without actually being horror, you know. And I thought Stranger Things did that, but this time, nope. This is a horror show now. You can't say it's anything else now. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a sprint at 30?
Sure.
Okay, go for 30 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
I really am so excited to start reading this because my plan today was I was going to read this, but then I was like, oh, I'll edit my video. And I'm really happy that I edited it. Unfortunately, I do actually have to go back. I kind of like got to, kind of edit just a little bit. Like I got the clean, I got the first cut and I just got to, tighten it up then and again. But I'm happy I did that, but I really wanted to read this before we started our sprints. But now's the time to read, so I'm excited. And usually, for some reason, the reading sprints don't go the way I planned. For some reason, being told to read or it being like this is the time to read is always when I'm like, I don't want to read. It's like, no, this is when you read. And like last time when it was the writing sprints, or like, yeah, I think it was that last time, I was reading, like I was trying to finish the Spanish Love Deception. I was able to do that. But yeah, I really want to read this book. I want to be able to read it, finish it, like it. I hope I like it. I don't want to be creeped out. So maybe what I'll do is I'll read it. I mean, I guess as long as I keep the light on,
I don't
probably
know
won't be
if
creeped out.
my internet is very bad,
Oh
but I lost everyone.
no. Oh no. Well, at least she can hear you. Uh-oh. That's loading.
Yeah.
So, Joharra, did you finish any books recently or anything?
No. Last book I finished would have been at the end of last month. I finished not Deathly Hallows. That's the one I'm about to start. Half-Blood Prince.
Oh well, I didn't know that because I was on vacation, so I didn't know. But yay, that's great.
Thanks. Yeah.
So, are you gonna start that? I forgot what you said. What book you're gonna read?
Rise of Kyoshi.
Okay,
I'm gonna read Deathly Hallows this month. A couple people and I have been buddy reading the Harry Potter series, and this month we are on Deathly Hallows. So I will be starting it sometime this month.
Sweet. Yeah, I do want to do that reread on Harry Potter, but because of how, once my reading gets more like regular again, maybe that's when I'll read. But I definitely want to be in a place where I really want to read. But we're gonna do that buddy read on the. Looks like Robin's back. Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know if it will work.
Robin, can you hear us? I don't think so.
I don't know. I was just gonna say with Percy Jackson, that'll be next month, right? July.
Yeah. If you still
want to. What's good is I have it on one of those hi. I have it on one of those like library book things, but then also Kindle had it as like a free book. So I have the ebook ready to go when we, decide to do the buddy read. So at least I have that first book prepared.
I own all 5 Percy Jackson books plus the spin-off Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. Hopefully, Robin, you'll be able to get back by the time we start again. But now it is 30, so we'll be back at 00. So happy reading!
Happy reading.
Okay. At least I'm back. Okay. I think we're sprinting.
How are your sprints?
Good. Got to page 19.
Awesome. Yeah, I finished chapter 3, which I'm very happy with, or chapter 2, and then I got to chapter 3, if that's right, or maybe chapter 4. Where did I get? Hold on. Yeah, I got to chapter 3, so I'm in the middle of chapter 3. But I'm learning some new things about what's going on. So I was kind of onto something when I thought it had something to do with the main character, with the portrait and everything. So apparently, now the main character's name is Isabella Brixton, and the model, the lady that that was the painting of all of these, so many paintings of her. Her name is Isabella Granger, and apparently it's supposed to be like kind of significant here. And I don't know if it's getting into any feminism, because there were like 2 instances of feminism, and the way they were talking about how they didn't know, because apparently there was like a little bit of Wikipedia information on Isabella Granger, and then the husband they were talking about, even though she was very much into photography, there weren't that many photographs of her. It was more of these paintings. But then they were saying that the husband, he at first was doing paintings, but then he got into photography, and they don't know how he died. They don't know specifically when and how he died, and that's kind of how the chapter ends. So I'm kind of like, did he do something and she took care of him? Like, I'm a little curious where they're going with this, but so far I am very intrigued. And you know what's funny is at first I didn't realize, because it's the character and her family are moving to, that's the mansion they're moving to. So basically they get offered this big deal job at this university, and like she was asking like, why out of everyone did they get selected? And it's like, uh-oh. And then they were saying the whole thing, like she's talking about the mansion, and the mom's talking about the mansion, and she's like, yeah, it was like it was glowing, it was like it was calling out to me. It's like, no, this is believe. I cannot believe these people. You do not go to the haunted house. You do not go there. But anyway, I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm liking like the little hints of the suspense and the mystery, and I'm just like, ooh, this, so far so good. I think I got to page 23. Yeah, it is great. Yeah, I'm very happy, and it seems like, I mean, obviously, I only got to the start, and so far it's only like the contemporary stuff, nothing horror related just yet. I hope it really stays timid. I do not want to be freaked out. It is good, but so far I'm really enjoying it, which I'm very happy about. And I like that it's short chapters, and I think it's 300 something pages. Yeah, it's 330, so that's not too bad. You know, I think I could get through this because I really want to read this book. So if I spend the time with our reading sprints, and if I read all day tomorrow, who knows, maybe I could finish it. It would just be nice to be able to read something really fast that's full length, you know? So sorry I went off on that tangent. I'm just very excited about the book, but how are your guys' sprints?
Well, I'm so glad you had such a positive experience. I know, like, the last few sprints you, like, weren't really into what you were reading, so it's good to hear that you, like, glow about what you read today. And it sounds like a really fun mystery is being set. You know, I'm intrigued. I'm curious to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I got to 60% in my book, and I read 2 chapters. The one chapter was really short, and like something big happened like right at the end of the chapter I just finished, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the stakes have been like raised, and like I'm getting really involved in you know, like the stakes of the book. So
what's it called again?
this is When We Were Magic. So it's a young adult, and it's mostly contemporary high school setting, but the main character and her friend group are all secretly witches.
You said it was When We Were Villain?
When We Were Magic.
When We Were Magic.
Yeah.
See? This is, sometimes I think I understand what was it. Oh, yes, I think I've seen at least the cover before. Maybe I'll check that out. But
I'm
that's really
really
cool.
enjoying it, and it's something I wouldn't usually pick up, but I've read other books by this author and I really like the author, so I was like, okay, I'll try like a young adult fantasy, whereas I've only read their like adult science fiction that
Yeah,
they've written. So very different for me, but I'm like, I feel like I would have really enjoyed this book when I was in high school.
Hmm.
Just because I feel like the characters are very like down to earth and very realistic for high
Hmm.
schoolers. There's not that like added glamour that I feel like a lot of young adult, especially like TV, tries to put into the teenage years.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the friend group is just very genuine. They all really like each other and like they're all quirky and different. Like it's such a good setup that I feel like I would have really enjoyed this being that age and reading it. So I kind of like reading young adults that makes me feel that way, that's like, oh, I
Yeah.
like younger me would have really enjoyed this had this existed back then.
That's really
Um,
cool.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. My book's pretty good. I mean, I'm not that far into it yet. I'm on page 19, and it's starting off with like Kyoshi finding out she's the Avatar and stuff.
Mm.
So it's kind of starting from the very beginning. Um,
Mhm.
'cause, Tiffany, I don't know if you ever seen Avatar: Last Airbender.
I haven't, but I hear good things.
It's an amazing show, and you learn a little bit about some previous avatars in Avatar and its spin-off Legend of Korra. Um, but there's so much you don't know about these avatars. In Avatar: Last Airbender, you learn about Kyoshi. You learn that she can be a bit aggressive, and she's not afraid to murder if she has to. I mean, she
Mhm.
doesn't go around killing innocents, but if it comes down to it, she has what it takes to murder someone, which is something Aang
Yeah.
didn't. But you find out that she also had a girlfriend that she loved, but she was killed. I think she was killed. Um, and I think I just got introduced to her girlfriend. I might be wrong, but I think that's what her girlfriend's name was. I might have to look it up.
Mm.
So
I think her girlfriend was a Fire Nation person.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think she was a firebender, but I think she was Fire Nation.
but she was from the Fire Nation, yeah.
Yeah. Rengi, I think. Right.
That sounds vaguely familiar. I don't, because I think the like lore with her having a girlfriend, I think that came from the comics and I didn't read the comics. Um, but I don't think it was mentioned in the core TV show, which I know very well. I've seen the TV
Yeah.
show many times.
I haven't read the comics either, but I know a great deal about what happens in some of the comics. A few things, like
Yeah,
I heard about Kyoshi having a girlfriend and all
I
that.
heard that before, yeah.
And they're not together yet. If this is her, but if it is her, then I got introduced to her, so that'll be interesting. Because I think this duology is gonna be like just showing her Kyoshi's story fleshed out. Pro-
Hmm.
um, I mean, it showed her from when she was really little, and then it went to 9 years later. So it's kind of showing her life.
Well, they
Um,
kind of did the same for Aang and Korra,
yeah,
too. Like they did kind of like at least like show like in flashbacks the moments where like they found out they were the Avatar.
true. Um,
So that's cool that they did it for
yeah,
Kyoshi too.
yeah. Get to see how she became the Avatar and her whole story. It's gonna be interesting.
I just wanted to say, Joharra, I just looked at what you sent for the Twitter thing.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, it is kind of coming out of left field and everything. But to be fair, the person that you don't like, I do like. I don't know if I like them with that specific person, and then
Oh
the person that
no.
they've been together with, I
Oh
don't
no.
particularly like this guy. So, you know, I'm okay with them being broken up, but I don't want this other character to get with that guy, you know? Like, I think he can be on his own, and she could be on her own. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds way healthier, but it doesn't look like they're going that. So I can understand what you're saying. I'm not, I don't really have an opinion, but I can understand why people are annoyed because it's like, hey, we've kind of moved on here, buddy.
yeah.
I hope I was vague enough, Robin. I'm sorry.
I know it's a couple thing now, so I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna be
Sorry.
opinionated
I'm
about
sorry.
this.
I was
I
trying
feel
to
like,
be like this person and that person. I was trying to make sure it was like distinguished who I was talking about without actually saying who
but
it was.
there's
I'm
so many
sorry.
couples in the show. I don't actually know which couple you're talking
Well,
about,
what's good
so
is there's so many
I
couples
don't know
you're
which
never
one.
gonna know until you watch it.
But I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna have an opinion about it if it is
Yeah,
something couple
probably.
related. Because, like I said, like I like was really annoyed by what they did with Hopper and
Yeah, 100%.
Joyce last season. So
Yeah, couples being bad. I guess they're not the best at writing couples or something.
yeah, yeah. I wish they would make a prequel show though with Kiyoshi for the Avatar universe.
That
I
would be
don't
interesting.
think they're I mean, they were planning on doing the live action TV show, I think, which I'm skeptical about,
After the live
honestly.
action movie, yeah, same.
Yeah, and not even that, but like so much is like going to live action lately that like it's kind of getting tired for me. I rather see like a beautiful animated art style like Avatar was originally done in. I think the animation and the worlds the like drawing style of it is just really beautiful to start with. That I kind of don't want it to lose that when it goes to live action. But rather than like redoing that whole storyline, I would rather see them do either Kyoshi or maybe like Roku or one of the other avatars. Because like I remember in Korra, the one season where she briefly loses her powers and then she like goes like into like a coma or something and she dreams about the first ever
Yeah.
avatar. I absolutely loved that. Like it was such like a sidetrack from the main plot of the season, but like I just genuinely really enjoyed watching that. So I'm like I
It was
want to
nice to
see
see how
more
it
of
all
that.
started.
Yeah, I just thought it was so cool and I would love to see more of like the backstories of the previous
Yeah,
avatars.
yeah. I feel like Kyoshi is a lot of people's favorite besides Aang and Korra. Obviously, I feel like Kyoshi's a lot of people's favorite past Avatar.
Mhm.
Uh, she's mine.
She
I
has
mean,
a lot of personality for how little of a presence she actually has in the
yeah,
show, and I feel like, like Aang and Korra are fun to watch because they're so different from each other, and I think Kyoshi's like the same, that like she is just very like ruthless, like
I,
she just goes for it,
yeah.
that
I'm
would
just
be really interesting to watch.
definitely, yeah, definitely. You should definitely check out this book. I'm really interested to see how she creates the Kyoshi warriors and how
Hmm.
she does all these stuff we know she does, but we haven't seen or read yet.
Right.
I'm really excited to read that and see how that plays out.
Nice. Yeah.
And I feel like there is so much you can do because there are so many avatars and there's going to be so many more.
Right.
I mean, I heard recently that they are making a another sequel series about the next Avatar after Korra.
Ooh, I
That,
don't know how I feel about that, just
yeah,
because so much changed at the end of Korra's season, and also like the technology jump from Avatar to Korra, like it moved like 100 years worth of technological development in that time period. I feel like the more technology that's added to the world of Avatar, it kind of ruins that charm of like relying
yeah,
on like the various
true.
types of bending. So
I think I honestly I can the next Avatar is going to be Earth, and I can kind of see them making at least one more after that, so they can have one for each nation.
how about instead of doing the next Avatar as Earth, they go back and do Kyoshi as the
Right there, you have the
Earthbender
Earth.
because she is the Earth Avatar. Oh my god. Like I would by far prefer that over a new one that we don't really know too much about. Oh,
I mean, I
I'm
feel like
sorry, accident. I was
you're
brushing a
fine,
crumb off of my keypad and it clicked. So happened to stop camera.
but
Um,
I feel like uh it was good. It was done well with Korra, because
Mhm.
it was the first time you get to learn a little bit more about how what happened after Aang and everything, and I feel like they did it pretty well. I know Korra used to get a lot of hate, but lately a lot of people has been defending it. People has
Mhm.
finally realized how good it actually is. And I think the problem why it was getting a lot of hate wasn't even because it was bad show, but because everyone kept comparing it to uh uh Avatar and kept
Mhm.
comparing Korra to Aang, even though they're not comparable. Because yes, they're from the same universe, but they are two different characters, two different groups of friends, and
Mhm.
so you shouldn't compare them because there is no comparing. And I love Aang, but sometimes I didn't like Korra at first, but she did grow on me. And by the end, I think I might like her just a tad more than Aang, actually, just because she feels more real, more relatable, I mean, Aang always had this whole perfect thing about him. And
Mhm.
Korra made mistakes. She wasn't perfect, and that was established since the very beginning. And I really like that.
Yeah, I do really appreciate how different of characters Aang and Korra are because if they were the same person, I would have been super annoyed to be honest. Um, yeah. Oh, but also with Korra, like Korra had a lot of like cameos of characters from the Avatar series too because it was close enough in timeline. So I'm curious if they would do that. Like if they would have like Asami and like Bolin or something appear in this next one, but
An
they're like
elderly version.
older. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see like the development of the Airbenders. I think they, really flourished by the end of Korra.
That'd
But
be
it'd be really interesting to see what they look like now. Yeah. But I would still prefer Kyoshi over a new Avatar.
I just feel like there are so
Guys,
many. Huh?
I was just gonna say it's interesting. You guys are just like boom, 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 and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm just here. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I'm happy you guys are happy.
I recommend if you're looking for a new show to check out and if you do like animated style shows, Avatar and Korra are both very good shows.
Yeah, I do like the animated, and with what you were saying, about live action is getting to be too much. Did you see they already
Mhm.
have like a promo poster for Pinocchio? Are you kidding me? Enough with live
Oh my
action, please
gosh.
stop.
Disney is driving me up a wall with
Yeah,
like how they're like remaking everything as live action.
Or
I
just reboots like Monster High.
don't even get me started on Monster High. Um,
Monster High reboot. It does not exist.
it doesn't. I didn't get through the first movie and I just stopped watching. I'm like they changed too much of the canon. I couldn't do it.
yeah,
And, like
Yeah.
even like the Disney reboots, it's like there's nothing like transformative about it. It is literally just the same storyline again, but it looks
yeah,
ugly and is in that like disgusting like trying to be realistic style.
yeah.
I prefer like stylistic animation over like trying to be hyper realistic like any day, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Yeah, no,
do the
it's
animation.
like what's a shame is the fact that they are getting the money, and that's why
That's
they're motivated for it. And it's a
that's
shame
why they're
because
doing it. It's an easy cash grab for them.
it,
They don't have to
it
write a new
is. It
story.
totally is. It's just sad. It's like you know, it was so great watching movies back in the day, seeing how good Disney used to be. Like, look at all that
Yeah.
talent. Look at how all the hard work they did on these animated features, and now they're like CGI. No, no, no time for any script or writing. We're just gonna
Right.
make the worst thing you've ever seen and call it the live action version of The Lion King or Cruella or whatever. It's like, come on.
I actually preferred the Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin live action movies.
Oh, I hated Beauty and the Beast. No
I
way.
loved it.
I
I never
haven't
actually watched the Aladdin one. I
seen
was
it.
too sick of live action remakes. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I
Same.
loved it. I feel like, I mean, Jasmine was always one of the older princesses that were more, what's the wording? Independent,
Active?
Independent.
feminist.
Uh-huh.
She was one of the older ones that was like that, like Belle and stuff. But they did so amazing with her character in the live action movie. They gave her own song, and I am obsessed with that song. It is just so empowering. If you don't want to watch that, fine, but you should really check out the song Speechless. It is so empowering, and I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think that they need to come up with new things. Or, there are like how many books out in the world? Like, make
Yeah.
Let me phrase that right. Make a good adaptation. We do not want a remake of Percy Jackson. I still haven't read the book yet, but from what I hear, it is nothing like it. And Percy Jackson, the movies get a lot of hate because of it. Like Avatar: Last Airbender movie. Because they made a live action movie for Avatar, Tiffany, and they were originally going to make 3 movies for each 3 seasons, but they ended up getting canceled because the first movie was nothing like the season. I mean, they changed everything from the characters' personalities to they even misspelled a lot of their names. I mean, pronounced their names, and I'm like, seriously,
That's really bad, man. How embarrassing.
Right? It was frustrating.
Mm-hmm. So I know it's not like right now, but it's 21. Do you want to start a sprint at 30?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm gonna get quite a bit through. So, question: if you guys could choose a book to be developed into a movie, and I'm gonna specify for Joharra, it can't be one of the books you wrote. What book would you want to see be developed as a movie?
I know my answer is going to be Angel Fall because that's my all-time favorite book. And they did adapt The Fifth Wave, which is, like Angel Fall and The Fifth Wave are at like the same.
Yeah.
And The Fifth Wave movie was a travesty. How dare they?
I think that's what you told me during our buddy read.
Yeah. I hated that movie. I was so sad. And again, I never reread that book at that point. And it was like, I think it came out at the beginning of 2016. So I had read that back in 2013. So I'm like, I'm expecting high expectations here. I'm like, this is going to be great. Now, again, I was a little like, why did they cast Chloe Grace Moretz? Now, at that point, I had thought she had brown hair. I don't know why I had missed that part of the blonde hair. But then, during the reread, I noticed that. But I'm still like, I would have preferred for her with brown hair. But that's just me. But, and on the cover, it looks like it's a girl with brown hair. And I was just picturing Clove from the first Hunger Games movie. And I was just thinking of her like just a cool little short badass girl. I was just picturing it like that. And so I was a little disappointed. It's like some blondie. I mean, I know I'm not trying to be mean to blondes. It's just that's how I pictured her. And I was so annoyed. That was not how it went. So there was like a lot wrong with the movie, but I was how dare they? But if they could do Angel Fall right, I would be very happy to see that. It's a really good book, but guys, you really should read it. It is amazing.
What is the premise of Angel Fall? I know I've seen it before, I just don't remember
Let me just
it.
grab the book for a second. Okay. It's been 6 weeks. Sorry. See, I don't know. My brain's kind of like, I'm just trying to be like, words.
I get
to
you.
like hear myself say the synopsis for this too, because I was, editing my video, but it's like, okay. Yeah, and it's dark. Okay. There we go. It's been 6 weeks since Angels of the Apocalypse descended to demolish the modern world. Street gangs rule the day while fear and superstition rule the night. When warrior angels fly away with a helpless little girl, her 17-year-old sister Penryn will do anything to get her back. Anything, including making a deal with an enemy angel. Raph is a warrior who lies broken and wingless on the street. After eons of fighting his own battles, he finds himself being rescued from a desperate situation by a half-starved teenage girl. Traveling through a dark and twisted Northern California, they have only each other to rely on for survival. Together, they journey toward the Angels' stronghold in San Francisco, where Penryn will risk everything to rescue her sister, and Raph will put himself at the mercy of his greatest enemies for the chance to be made whole again. It is so amazing. It is such a good book. Also, Joharra, I don't know what your opinions are on gore, but because you were saying like you kind of like horror and stuff, this
love
has
gore.
plenty of gore. So
Oh.
I like it. I'm kind of whatever it is, whatever selling points. Like this is kind of like a sci-fi sitch. So Robin, you should read it.
Yeah, it sounds like
And
it's almost
Robin, let's not forget
post-apocalypse,
that-
which sounds really cool to me.
Right. And let's not forget, I recommended The Fifth Wave, and you like that too.
I did like that
You
one,
don't
yeah.
read it. It's just a shame that this book is so underrated. Like,
Yeah.
who-
I haven't
not
heard
many
much
people talk
about it.
It makes me sad. It
Yeah.
deserves it though.
Is it a series or is it a standalone?
It's a series.
Okay, I prefer
I would
standalone.
recommend just reading this one. I mean, I
Okay.
know it kind of like ends off where it's like you kind of need to read the continuation, but personally, I don't know. I didn't like the second one. I kind of liked the third, and it was funny. It took me like I read it in last year, so that was 2021, and I read this in 2016. Yeah, I guess I read those two other books in 2016, and so it was like, how am I going to remember anything? And actually, it wasn't too bad. Actually, it was the year before that, 2020, but it was still really good. So just skip book two. I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe some people like it, but I definitely didn't. But this series is amazing, the best. Okay.
Cool. I might have to try that out.
Yeah.
Joharra, what book would you like to see turned into a movie? And we're gonna assume it's a good movie. They do a good job with it.
I mean, I would like to see Seekers. I mean, like an animated movie.
I'm so surprised they haven't done like a Warriors or a Seekers movie, or especially Warriors, because that one is huge.
Yeah, years ago, I heard about them talking about making a Warriors series or movie or something.
Yeah.
But nothing came of it, so I guess it was scrapped or something, or maybe it was just talk and they didn't do anything with it. I don't know, but Seekers is already underrated, like what she was saying about that book, and I feel like I just would love to see it on the big screen. I mean, I love Seekers. I would also like to see the Hocus Pocus sequel book, because I am not looking forward to the sequel movie just because they're not following the sequel book.
But they're not?
No.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I was really looking forward to it because I thought they were making the book into a movie, and like from what I've heard about you about the book, I'm like, yeah, I would like to watch that,
From what I read it, and it sounds like they're basically just redoing what they did with the original movie. Kind of like almost like a reboot, but not a reboot, if that makes sense. Because the sequel book, I love it. I love it more than the original movie because the stakes were so much higher. Like, I mean, they were if they could just stall in the first movie, if they could just stall the witches long enough, then they win, because the stakes weren't actually that high if you thought about it. But here, if they do not stop the witches, then everything will be lost. And the stakes were so high, and I love the characters, and it was so good. And I don't want to spoil anything because some of these high stakes are kind of spoilery, but I do highly recommend the sequel book. But I am so not looking forward to the sequel movie just because I'm so upset that they're not following the book, because I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed to hear that. I genuinely thought they were making the book into a movie, so I don't know if I'm gonna watch it then. If it's not. I don't have an answer because like everything I tried to think of, I'm like, they already tried that and the movie wasn't good. But if I think of one, I'll say it later.
Yeah, it is sad though that like really awesome stellar stories and then it just gets kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
Well, I am curious about the Summer I Turned Pretty that they're, making the books series on Prime Video. I did read the series back in 2020. I do want to do a reread because it's been a while since I read them, and I did enjoy most of the series. And now I would say it is not a book I would say, oh my gosh, I recommend this book. It was just kind of like cutesy, fun, kind of trashy because like there was something missing about it being great, you know? But it was
Mhm.
still kind of like dumb fun. But I'm a little skeptical about the show. Like I've watched the trailer a couple times and I'm just a little like, I don't know. But I still hope it could be good. So are we up for our sprint?
Yeah, it sounds
Awesome.
good.
Well, happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.
All right, how are your sprints?
Good. I got to page 41. And I'm a little confused about something. It's kind of complicated, but I have a theory about it, and so let's see if my theory is true. But I was right. Ringy is the girl that Kyoshi starts seeing.
Ooh, nice.
One thing that I'm very excited for. I mean, I'm very excited for many things, to see Kyoshi's story completely fleshed out and stuff, and to see so many things that we've heard about but haven't yet been able to see for ourselves. I'm so excited for a lot of it. But right now, Kyoshi seems like the exact opposite of who we saw on Avatar. She's kind of shy, reserved, and tries to avoid conflict, prefer peaceful things. So yeah, so
That's
I
weird.
have yeah, exactly. I have a feeling that something or multiple things are gonna happen that changes her. I mean, she already hasn't had that easy of a life, and I have a feeling once they discover she's the Avatar, that her life's just gonna get so much worse. Especially since I do know that her girlfriend was, I think, murdered. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so from what I hear, so I have a feeling like all these events will just cause her to be the Avatar we saw on Avatar. So I'm excited to see that.
Interesting. Yeah, that should be interesting to see the development because that doesn't sound like Kiyoshi right now. So I'm a little confused. I didn't read as much this time. I only got 5% more into the book. I did stop to make a snack though and eat. Um, but it's getting good. I think you're really gonna like the friendship in this, Joharra, because the
Really?
friend group is just like so tight, and like there was like a moment where it's like, oh my god, like these friends are like so committed to each other. They're making this huge sacrifice for the main character. Like I was so moved by it.
Yeah.
And then so the main character has a crush on one of the friends in the friend group, but and I kind of sense that one of the other friends liked the main character, and so she makes a pass at her, and I was like, "Oh no!" Like, there's like I'm so like on edge to see what's gonna happen. Like, is this friend gonna be upset that like the main character doesn't like her back? Like, oh my god! Like, I'm not usually into the drama, but it was just set up so well that I'm like, oof, I'm feeling that. Like.
Wow, yeah. I'm excited for it.
So
Yeah.
I'm having a time. Yeah. How did
It,
yours go, Tiffany?
yeah, I got more into it. I finished how far into it? I finished chapter 3. I'm on chapter 4. So I'm halfway into that. So yeah, but I'm really liking this book. I can't remember. There was something I read here that had me like, oh snap, here it is. Oh, yeah. Let me just find it. It was like they get to the house, they moved and they got to the house. Yeah. Wait up, it's not safe. And so then the guy is like, oh, the pavement is new, and please be careful inside. There are some problems in a few of the rooms with the floor, but we're working on it. And it's like, is it just the floor, buddy? Really?
Mm,
You know? Also, what's cool about,
foreshadowing.
I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there's some like red, like blood, like little splatters of blood here, and there's splatters of blood right all around here.
I'm having a hard time seeing it, but
I'm sorry.
no,
I wish I could
it's
show you guys,
nothing you
but
can really do,
no,
but
but it's really cool. I'm impressed with the cover. I also really
it
like
does look really
because
pretty.
the way that the subject matter, or like what you would expect when you hear, like, because it says like spirit possession in like the subject, in the information about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the things like that. It says spirit possession and horror stories, but then it's so like pinkish and
Yeah.
cute and pretty. And what also I really like is, now for me, I really hate descriptions. I don't like reading about descriptions. I would much prefer they just abandon it, whatever. I like how this author is describing things, like how
Mhm.
she described um one of the paintings, the portraits of her. It's uh like she's saying, oh, unlike the Renaissance way that they that they paint her. It's the I don't know how you say that, Raphaelite, I don't know, tradition. And so she says, the more I look, the more I realize it's not the only difference. The lines of her face are so clean that they must have been restored. I don't see how they could have survived like this for more than 100 years. And something about her face strikes me as odd. It looks different, not like you'd expect on such a fresco. Modern looking, not softly rounded with the tiny bow mouth, but sharp and shrewd. Her piercing green eyes gaze straight at me, defiant, challenging me. Like, that is a really cool description, and I like that's how she's kind of describing this stuff. And even though like she described the mansion for like a second, it was barely anything, and it wasn't like, for me, descriptions are just too
flowery,
boring, like, and most of the time I can't picture it at all, and I feel more of a picture here. And I like how she described it as like the mansion is like a U shape, so I can kind of picture that. I've seen those kind of mansions before, so I'm able to picture it. And I'm just saying that I really don't like how it is almost like the average description is almost like elitist in the sense of like the literary fiction uppity. Like, how about a normal description for normal people, the way we speak in English? Like, come on. So I really like that she's doing it that way. So yeah, I just am very happy with the book so far. I got to page 31. Yeah, so I'm kind of flying through this book, which I'm very happy about.
That's awesome.
I love descriptions because I cannot go into a book completely blind. I need to know something about it. I need to know that I mean, I don't go outside my comfort zone very often, but that's also why I have rated most of my reads 4 or 5 stars, because I stay in my little reading bubble here.
Yeah.
And so I need to read that description so I know that I will like it, or at least think I will like it.
Oh, are you talking about the synopsis? I was talking about how they have, like, when you describe
I thought you were talking about
a person.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about like describing the setting,
Okay.
descriptions and stuff. And typically I really don't like it, but the way they were describing the house, this portrait, it was just very good and well, and more just simple talking. And that's more what I can vibe with. And I'm very pleased with how she's working it. And just in general, I like the little sprinkles of mystery and creepiness already.
Yeah.
It already got freaky at the end of chapter 3. So this like feeling of rage comes over her, something she's never felt before, and it felt like it was someone else for her. And she just, even though she loves and cherishes her phone, she just chucks it. And it lands on the floor, and there's a crack and everything, and it's like, ants. Let me go back for just a second. It says, echoing my thoughts, the lights on the entire floor crackle, hiss, and flicker out. Bro, this is the time to leave.
Yeah.
I'm staying at this house. Like, I sympathize for the girl because she literally didn't even want to be here. And like, she is 100% forced to be here. She never asked to be here. So like, I can understand. And she's, a young girl. She's a teenager, but she's still legally binded to her parents. And so the parents, I'm very annoyed with how they would do that. Oh, and the fact that the guy who works at the university, I guess he's the one who was like in charge of, like setting them up or something. This is what she says. The mom says, "Thank you so much. I know it was such short notice." And he says, "We finally have someone dedicated and trustworthy taking care of the Isabella Granger house. So it's a win-win situation." He's giving me the creeps. And in general, I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is getting intense. Like, I'm kind of curious about all the bad things that are happening. Because it's like, well, they just, recruited her to get this job at this random place, at this random house. And it's like, this is, there's something going on here. And it's like, oh no. But I'm very excited. This actually has me very engaged. I just really hope it doesn't scare me.
Nice. Yeah, it's just, I feel like a lot of times when people, like in horror movies, a lot of times stuff like that does happen because it's like they don't leave when these creepy stuff starts happening. And I feel like it's because these people are just so non-believers that it overtook them, and they're like, "Oh no, there has to be a logical explanation." And I will say this until the day I die. Okay, the non-believers are gonna get the rest of us killed. Look at Hocus Pocus. Max didn't believe. Look what happened. Look at Ouija. I don't know if you guys ever saw that horror
I
movie,
haven't seen Ouija,
but
no.
well, basically, the this girl dies all of a sudden. It looks like suicide, but she got possessed because she decided to play a Ouija board and she broke one of the rules, which is never play it by yourself. And she played by herself, so she was possessed and
Mm.
forced to and killed herself. Um, and then her friends decide to play the Ouija board to try to contact her, and they find out that they did contact her, and it was this whole mess because then they got played by the real villain, and it was just a mess. But it's like the non-believers are gonna get the rest of us killed because they don't believe that. They like to mock it, and they like to mock it and try to play around with it because they truly believe it's not real. And it's one thing to believe it's not real, but to go and mock it like that, to risk it, that's just
Yeah.
stupidity right there. And what about us believers? Like, you're gonna get us killed when we knew better.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just messed up, man. Yeah, but again, it was a little bit like, I mean, again, just such a cutesy little pinkish cover. It just looks very light, but maybe that's how they trick you.
Mhm.
So far so good. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I'm very pleased because even with the Spanish Love Deception, even though I really enjoyed that book this year, the first chapter I was so bored and I literally thought I was gonna have to not even read it. And then it really kept my interest and then it kind of fell off, it kind of got more boring. But because of the fact that it's already starting really good and it's outside my genre, who knows, maybe I'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I will make horror stories my common
I'd
thing.
be
This will be a
surprised.
one-time thing.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if that becomes your new genre.
That would be crazy. Can you imagine? I
I
just,
wonder
I mean,
if
if it worked. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I wonder if horror books tend to be lighter than horror movies, because I know another booktuber I follow, they really like reading horror, but they will not watch a horror movie.
Okay.
So maybe it's just not as intense. And like the only horror book I really read recently, I felt like it was really light. Like you might like it actually, because yeah, it was like effectively creepy, but like it wasn't all out scary. So I'm guessing the genre is more like that. I think because it doesn't depend as much on like jump scares. It's not a
Yeah,
visual thing.
that's why I don't
Um,
actually read horror books. I mean, I've just never gravitated towards them. Horror movies, on the other hand, I love the creepy factor, and I don't scare that easily. So the horror movies I watch don't actually scare me. But I rate them whether they're good or not on the spook factor. If I get at least a little bit
mm,
spooked or something, or just something like that, and get on the edge of my seat, wondering what's gonna happen, wondering when the next jump scare is. That's kind of how I rate them because I don't scare easily. I cannot think of a horror movie that outright actually scared me, and I watched Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street when I was really little. So, um, but I love horror movies. I love the gore. I love the jump scares. My mom prefers. She's never been big into horror movies because she's not big on getting scared, right? But she says that she prefers the gore over the jump scares because that's what gets her. She's always so afraid. That's why she likes horror more than thriller because she doesn't like the whole jump scares. But I love it. It's so thrilling.
Interesting. Robin, do you remember what the title was with that book you were describing?
sorry, what was that? You broke up.
Oh, I was just saying that book you were just describing that I might like, but you weren't too sure, that kind of horror story you were
Yeah,
saying.
that one was it was called Horrid by Katrina Leno, and I think all of the books
I've seen
Katrina
that.
Leno
I've
writes
seen
is
that.
It's a
That
gorgeous cover
yeah, I've seen the cover, but it's good.
with, like, the rose, and yeah,
It looks
I
so
liked it.
creepy.
Yeah, it's very, atmospheric, I think, where you just are kind of, like, left with, like, this overall sensation of foreboding, but it's not, like, jump scary, it's not gory at all,
Does it
it's
have a
just
peaceful ending?
I didn't like the ending.
No, but does it have a peaceful ending? Like, can you read it while thinking, okay, something happened? Like, is it more of like a something bad could have happened after that?
I
I
can't
think you
promise
kind of
that.
gave me your answer.
Yeah, I can't really promise that, but you might wanna look into that author because I think all she does is she writes horror generally
What's her
like
name again?
that. Katrina Leno?
Okay, Katrina. I should have just looked it up on Goodreads. Hello.
Uh, but that's the only book I read by her, but I think it's all young adult that she writes. There's no, like, sex in any of the books either, which I
Yeah.
know
Oh
is
my gosh,
in
it
her
looks so
relationship.
creepy. It's
Yeah,
literally flowers, and it looks so
I
demented.
love it. I absolutely
Oh,
loved that cover of that book. It was so beautiful.
I'm
Look it up
scared.
now too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I literally have one of her books as a want to read. You must not miss. I don't even remember why I added that. Who knows? Maybe I'll check her out.
Oh my gosh, that looks so
Yeah.
cool.
Right?
See,
I
you guys are
absolutely
very
love the
interesting,
cover.
very different from me. I'm just like, ah, creepy.
I like creepy. The creepier, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not for me. Ah.
I'm a
But I'd
weird
be
person.
interested to hear, what you think of Katrina Leno's work, because it might
Yeah,
be a
I
good
guess
fit.
I'll
I'd be
check her
really
out.
interested if that becomes your new niche, is that you like the, like, kind of light horror books.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was gonna mention. So this was in middle school. So it was more like maybe it was young adult. It was either middle grade or young adult. I would guess it was young adult, but I can't say for certain. But it was like now I couldn't tell you what the title is because I don't remember. Who knows? Maybe I have like a log of it somewhere. But it was like there was one book in this series where it was like some zombies was like the Crossroads or something like that. But it did have like some horror elements, and I read the Graveyard book, so like I read some
Mhm.
things, and that was kind of when I wanted because when you're like kind of growing up, and especially in middle school, you kind of are like, I'm a grown up. I want to be
Yeah.
grown up, even though it's very clear you are not ready for that. Like I
Mhm.
was watching some of the scary stories, or at least the thriller types, like oh shoot, I guess I forgot that one. The one with Michelle Pfeiffer, and Harrison Ford. I watched that movie. What Lies Beneath,
Mhm.
and the one with Dakota Fanning and some other dude. I can't remember what that horror story was. Hide and Seek, maybe. I think that was
I
it.
haven't seen
So
that
I
one.
watched a few. Like I watched a few scary movies, or at least more in the horror thriller genre. So I watched some of those. So I kind of got into it, but obviously still kind of in a chill way. And I know that one zombie one really creeped me out. The cover was really creepy. Now I'm
I
kind of
wonder
curious
what
about
book
just
it
looking it up
is.
to see. I think it was
Yeah.
either The Crossroads or Crossroads.
I have one book on my TBR, Final Girls, and uh,
Mhm.
my mom read it recently and rated it 4 stars. And I love the concept of it, of just these final girls being killed off, because they
Mhm.
also write their own perspective horror stories, and I just love the concept, and I can't wait to read it because the concept just seems very intriguing.
I've heard a
I
lot about
found
that
it.
one. What's the book?
The Crossroads. Let me try to look it up. Yeah, Haunted
Yeah.
Mystery is what it says by Chris
The Cross.
Gravenstein. Yeah, The Crossroads. I remember reading that. Let me look. Okay, that was like I'd have to say
Oh my god, I
2014.
love the cover. That's so cool. The
Yeah,
cover
it
art.
says middle grade, or young adult. It says it in both children's, middle grade, young adult. Yeah. Mystery, horror, fantasy, paranormal.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, there it is. The Smoky Corridor. I remember that one. Oh, why am I do this to myself? I mean, it is kind of creepy, but not like the creepiest of creepy. But I remember I definitely read that one. But yeah,
Well, since
that
it's
used to
middle
give me
grade, you
the
might be
oh,
more
or was
into
that
it.
2013? Maybe it was 2013. But yeah, so I read those. See if I can just chat. Anyway, so I read those books. Yeah. So why won't this work? Anyway, so that was interesting. So who knows? Maybe now again, I really don't like being freaked out. So I am guessing this will not be the big main thing. But and over the years I've kind of watched more. Like I've been, I've watched Scream, Scary Movie. I've watched some more scary ones. There was that movie that came out, Countdown. I watched that. Like some of these I watched. That movie that came out in 2020. It had Vince Vaughn. It was called Freaky because it was like a Freaky Friday, but it was like this teenage girl switched with this serial killer. That was kind of a cutesy movie. Cutesy, creepy.
Okay, that
gory.
sounds funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is funny. And every time, like Vince Vaughn, he's huge. He's like 6 foot something, and then every time he's like, "Will you shut up?" It was so funny.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, there's several horrors that I like. I mentioned The Conjuring, Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street. Quiet Place was pretty good. Still haven't seen the second one yet.
I don't see that as
Yeah,
being
I
a
love
horror.
Quiet
I
Place.
personally
It's
didn't
more
like
thriller.
I really couldn't
Sci-fi
take it.
horror, I
It
guess.
was just like this thing, And I also felt it was very much like the creature from Stranger Things. I was kind of like, this Demogorgon looking thing.
Mm.
I also like Truth or Dare with Lucy Hale.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I
really
haven't
good.
seen that.
But yeah, there's several that I like. I haven't seen all the Chucky movies, but I have seen a few of the later ones. I never saw the earlier ones.
Yeah.
I saw Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
Those were good. I like those. I saw a couple of the Halloweens. I don't really remember them. I remember the remake. It wasn't really a remake though. It was more of a prequel because it was kind of showing you how Michael Myers became Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it showed him as a kid and showed him how, because he started killing when he was a kid.
Yeah, that's how the movie starts. Yeah.
And I never did see Friday 13th. Never seen those.
Oh, I watched that one once. This jump scare of this thing coming out of the water. Ooh, that gave me the creeps. I hated that jump scare because it was like this movie is so dumb. Like I wasn't taking it seriously at all, and then they were like, and I was like, that was the worst because it was like then she wakes up and she's in that lake, and then she kind of like rows away, but it kind of the camera still rests on the lake, and I'm like, no. Of course, they had all sorts of other movies following that.
Yeah, how I can't speak today. Halloween and Friday the 13th, those are big franchises. There's like a lot of those movies, and honestly, they need to stop.
Yeah, well, I was disappointed. Like, they talked about how Halloween really like reignited horror. It was a big, it was like the grandfather of horror, or something like they really, was like a big thing for the time. That movie was so nothing, so boring, and the fact that like the da-da-da, and then he's there, and then she screams, and she just tumbles down the stairs. It's like,
There's this one movie that I absolutely love, but it's so underrated. I don't think a lot of people even know it exists. But I consider it kind of horror because there is a lot of the whole blood gore aspect. But it's called Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Ooh.
And it's dark.
I think I've seen like the movie cover for that.
it's a dark version of the child's story Hansel and Gretel, and so at the beginning it shows like the whole story of what happened to them, like really quickly in the first like 5 minutes, and then it shows them as adults, and now they are witch hunters, and it shows them killing witches, and it can get pretty gruesome because they can like tear witches apart, and it'll show them explode, and blood goes everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
It's awesome, and I love the movie.
Here I am, just like, whoo, and you're just like, whoo.
Yes,
that was very different in that aspect. But that's funny. Like, you have such a range. You're good with that really intense stuff, but then also like the middle grade stuff. You're like, oh, this is cutesy. I like this. That is so funny.
Yes, I have a range.
What's your opinion, Robin, on like horror and gore and things like that?
I'm good with gore. I don't like jump scares because I think they're just like a cheap way to scare people. And I am really picky about horror. Again, similar to like how I am with TV. It's about the writing. I feel like so much horror movies, they kill off the characters so quick that like I can't get involved with any of them, and so for me it's mostly like the writing just doesn't come together. I have a hard time getting engaged in any of the storylines when it's like, okay, I don't know anything about this character and bad stuff is happening to them. Why do I care if they survive or not?
You know that go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna repeat, like, so I'm really picky about, it's hard for me to pinpoint what it is about the horror movies I do like versus the ones I don't, but usually it's just I watch the movie, I'm like, okay, the writing didn't come together for me.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching Happy Death Day. I liked that movie. I thought that was pretty good.
I've heard that one. My mom likes it. I haven't watched it yet though.
Yeah, the first one's really good. It's like it's like Groundhog Day, but obviously it's got killer on the loose and kills her every single day, and she wakes up and is like, oh no. But Happy Death Day to You, the sequel, oh my gosh, that one was so bad. It's like, no, that movie was fine on its own. Like, they got too much into like the space-time continuum in the second one, like too much quantum physics science that actually isn't science. It's just movie logic, and it was so dumb.
Oh wow.
So 3 minutes, then we can start our next sprint.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get some food, but whenever I finish the food, maybe I can read again. But yeah, I am liking this story. I'm very impressed with it. But I really hope, because I was trying to read Uglies at first because of Stranger Things 4. I was like, I just watched something very disturbing. I do not want to be disturbed or scared or freaked out, so maybe I should read Uglies. And then I kind of just started it, and I got bored pretty quickly, and I'm flying through this other book, but I don't want them to betray me. I know they're saying spirit possession and horror stories, but please, let it be mild. I do not want to be scared. Imagine, let's just picture for a second, I finish the book, and I wake up screaming over a stupid book. No, thank you. I do not want to be scared by a stupid book.
I've never had a nightmare over a horror movie. I don't really. I've never really remembered my dreams, anyways. So, but yeah, I feel like the thrill of it is just so exciting, and I find it funny how we're all like completely different ends on this horror aspect. You're kind of against it. I'm kind of for it. Then there's Robin who's just in the middle.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Just horror is too much. And I used to, like I said, especially in middle school, I really wanted to like it and stuff. And yes, I watch more like the serial killer kind of ones. Like I watched Split. I thought that movie was really good. There are some stories that can do well, but most of the time, especially if it's spirit possession, I'm not watching that. That is too creepy, too real. I don't like it.
Well, there's it's nice that like what type of horror that like you can do versus what you can't do.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm similar, where the spiritual stuff will get me more spooked. For some reason, and I don't really know why.
Well, I think the big thing could be like, just imagine there would be something behind me. Like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't expect a serial killer to be behind me because we're in a pretty safe place. And how are they going to get in from, the top of the house? Like, they'd have to
Right.
come from the other way. So, that wouldn't be, but possession could happen anytime. And that's very scary.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about the Conjuring franchise. I mean, and also for the fact that it's based off true events, which
Mhm.
kind of has that whole creepy aspect with it, because it's like this has actually happened.
Yeah.
I feel like the third
That's what I'm telling you. I can't believe you like it. That's when
That's
you
why I like it.
know.
It's the only true story I
Oh, go ahead,
like.
sorry. You were
Sorry.
saying?
I was just saying it's the only true story I like. Because I'm not big on true crime and true stories, but these I am, and I love them. And I feel like the third one was so much creepier in the aspect. It wasn't really creepy, but it was like creepier in the aspect that there was a human controlling the spirits. And that makes it creepier because it's like this human is behind it in the end. And
Well, I would see that. I would be more okay with that, but it's the spirits that get me because, I mean, you don't know how much power they got. It's very disturbing to me and everything. I can't remember what I was going to say. Maybe I'll find it again, but I guess we'll see each other. I don't know. I don't think we have to like add a minute, but we'll see each other at 00. So happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone.
All right, how are your sprints?
Good.
What did you read to?
Page 64. Yeah.
Nice.
The thing I said I was confused about, which was a bit complicated, they had begun explaining it, and it looks they're still not 100% sure, but it makes sense, and it is kind of what my theory was. Sort of, it was more in depth than my theory, but it's basically around the same line. So I was kind of technically right about at least one part of it. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I didn't get to read anything. I had my dinner, but I'm now happy that I'm replenished and I had some food. My parents are watching Top Gun, so I watched like a scene or two of that. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't know if I would really want to watch that movie, and I know the new one, Top Gun Maverick, is, out and everything, but I just don't really think it's my thing. But who knows? Maybe I would like it, but I don't know.
Never watched it.
Anyways, so go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying never watched it, never heard of it.
Yeah, never watched it either. So, any other book-related stuff going on?
This month I'm doing this whole thing where I'm mostly reading books with LGBTQ characters for the most part. On the book I'm currently reading, Kiyoshi's Bi. I mentioned she had that relationship with a girl, which I can't wait to see. So that's exciting, for Pride Month and all. Robin's doing something similar, but she's doing it where she's reading LGBTQ books written by LGBTQ authors. So, but yeah, so that's it for my TBR, just like that. What about you?
Well, again, I'm very excited about my video coming out. Like I said, it's going to be a long video, like 41 minutes or something, which is insane. I've never made a video that long before. Like, obviously, live shows, but that doesn't count. Let me see about my TBR. Okay, so again, a big thing I'm going for is the Desert-a-thon TBR. So my plan is to read, obviously, The Last Beautiful Girl. I'm currently reading that. Uglies, a year to the day, because I have an ARC, and the ARC comes out this month. So I figured now is a good time to read it. There's this Kindle book. I don't know. It's a possibility. I will see. It's called Dear Enemy, so I'll see if I end up reading that. It's very low on my TBR, so I don't know if I'm really going to read it. We shall see. And then there's one, it's like hyped book, and so I selected The Love Hypothesis because I put it on hold at the library, but, I don't know if I'll get it by the time June is here. I mean, I know it's just the start of June, but I'm not sure that'll show up. Is there any other book? Can't remember if there's another one. Maybe 2022, what I want to read.
I have a few videos filmed. I just haven't uploaded them yet. I finally filmed. I've been talking about doing this one series on my channel where called Underrated Series Highlights, and each video I talk about a different underrated series to get some notice on them. And I finally filmed the first one of that series I'm gonna do. So excited to finally upload that.
Awesome. Okay, so on my 2022 TBR, Spanish Love Deception, I already finished that. I want to do that reread on Angel Fall. And I want to do that reread The Hunger Games, Harry Potter. I don't know. I have Twilight Book 1 as a reread, but I don't know if I'll actually do that. I just think it's just not the book for me. I know there are people who like it, but I'm just like, nah. But I'm sure either it's going to be more books on my physical TBR or books that I find along the way. I'm just going to have to see what happens. But I really hope I will be able to find some good books. I mean, I am still very, very pleased with this book. I did not expect this book that's kind of like a, creepy story to actually be so good. So I'm very pleased with it so far. You know, it is just funny. The cover is just so cutesy and whatever. And like even going in the house, because I know this is like a haunted house situation, that it is like ooh, giving the creeps, but also in like still a light way, which is exactly what I need. I do not want a intensely dark, everything is bad going on.
It's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've had kind of a rocky reading experience lately.
Yeah. I've read, let me see. I've read 5 books. Now, most of them are short stories. So I read Believe Me, The Marriage Test, The Spanish Love Deception, Bad Boys Break Hearts, and The Wickeds. Definitely, I should not have read The Wickeds. That was such a nothing story. But I do find it funny. Majority of what I've read is in the new adult category, which is kind of more what I'm trying to lean towards now, or at least more break into that realm. I do have 2 others that are young adults, but you know those were pretty tiny. But maybe that is where I'm going now. But again, with the romance, next time I will definitely just skip past those certain scenes because I want nothing to do with them. But yeah, some good books, and I'm looking forward to reading them. But obviously, I got The Last Beautiful Girl, and then maybe I'll start Uglies after that. But I really hope tomorrow I can just focus hardcore reading the book. I really want to just spend some time just reading. And, you know, usually, especially now with my attention span, it's still like, check Twitter. It's like, no Twitter for you. And, like, you know, just spend some time. And then my goal tomorrow is to fully finish editing my TBR video because again, like I got like everything taken care of, but there's just some things I got to clean up there.
Yeah.
But so my plan now is because I want to do 2 videos in a week. My plan is because my video today came out. Oh, yesterday. I meant yesterday. So that came out on Friday. So my plan is to do Friday, Tuesday. So Tuesday, Friday situations. So I hope I can stay consistent with that. If I change the days, I change the days. But I really want to be 2 videos a week. And also, I'm sure it'll help more people want to watch my videos and subscribe. It's like, I'm sad. I'm sad I only have only 131 subscribers. I've been here 2 years. I'd like more. But I will see because I haven't spent that much time on BookTube that maybe the more time I dedicate to the more people will be engaged in my stuff.
Definitely. I mean, I've been here for about a couple years now, and I only recently got to 200, so it feels like the first few hundred are the really hard ones, you know? I mean, after you really start to get there and get several hundred is when it seems to come easier.
I'm sure it's like a thing that YouTube eventually is like, oh, you're tiny, so we're not going to really recommend you. But then once you get a little bigger, they're like, okay, more people to see.
Which they should be recommending the ones that don't have many, so that they can get a lot. But you know,
oh yeah,
like that.
No, there really should be like a better thing. Like there should be like a tab, like new and upcoming or something. You know, it is a shame that they don't really do that. They're like, no. We want as many ads as we can.
I just uploaded a video. I think it was this morning or late last night or early this morning. I uploaded a couple of videos, and I uploaded one that was my buddy reads. I talked about my upcoming buddy reads, and I mentioned you in there. And our buddy read for Percy Jackson. Do you plan on reading Heroes of Olympus? I don't know if you wanted a buddy read that as well, or if you plan to
I don't know. I don't know if I'll have access to this. Wait, is Heroes of Olympus, is that the same or is it different? Is it the sequel?
Yeah, it's the sequel series.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not sure because I don't know if I'll have access. Like I said, I was able to find book 1 on my library, access from my library, and it was a free Kindle book, but I don't know about the other books. I think they might be money, and I don't really want to pay for it. So I don't know. If I find access to it, it depends on if I read the book and like it. Excuse me. If I like it, maybe. But if I'm kind of like, hey, this was a great experiment, good buddy read, but I'm kind of done with Percy Jackson. I tried it and it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see, because I know, like they say, the movies do not compare to the books, but I just don't know. Who knows? Maybe Harry Potter won't hit the same anymore. But I think Harry Potter was just such a childhood thing, and I've watched the movies so many times that, like, it's probably not the same compared to this, well-loved series of mine versus something I haven't even really experienced yet. I've only watched the movie, so I don't know. But, like, in general, like, the concept, I don't know. But I'm still looking forward to doing a buddy read next month. I would really like the book to be good. I want to like it, but I'm gonna have to see what happens. So again, it's more of a pending situation if I continue with the series.
Yeah, that's fine. And if you ever want to DNF throughout Percy Jackson, I totally understand. I don't want you to force yourself to read it if you're not enjoying it.
I have been saying this year that I don't want to, force myself to read. And yes, there were times when I put books down, but now it's kind of like, sometimes I'm kind of like, I'm fine. I'll just read it. At least it's not a lot of ones I'm reading. But at the same time, you have a fair point. So I'm going to see about that book.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think I'm going to like it. I mean, I've heard great things about the book series, unlike the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this. So you've heard that they're making another live action, right? For it, or another.
Yeah, they're making a Disney Plus show. They did a lot of casting already.
Yeah, I know they've already cast the three main characters: Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. And have you seen the casting choices?
Yeah.
I think I have kind of a controversial opinion about Annabeth's actress, just because she's not supposed to be black. I mean, I find it very. I don't want this to come off racist because I don't mind them having black characters. Obviously, I want them to have more black characters, but I just feel like it's very hypocritical whenever someone hates that they cast a white actress for a black role, but then get so happy that they cast a black actress for a white role when it's the exact same thing.
Nope, you're right on the money. And yeah, it was pretty sickening to see Rick Riordan, since he's the author, try to say that you're not giving her a chance. It's like, well, she literally has a character description and you guys ignored that, like, make your own character.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. And yeah, like the same thing with the they did that with the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child
I heard about that. They play.
Yeah, they had Hermione, even though she's an established white character, they changed her. And I was like, well, bruh,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it is just like, are you kidding me? Like, imagine gender bending like a title character. Imagine, it's supposed to be very empowering woman, and then they make it a man and they expect you to be cool with it. It's like, no, people would have a problem with that because it's like, hey, this character is this character. That's it.
Exactly. And I mean, I told you a little bit ago that the Avatar: Last Airbender movie is hated for many reasons, right?
I know part of that is instead of it being, an Asian cast, they had a lot of white people or something.
Yeah, it was whitewashed basically. I mean, there's Avatar: Last Airbender there's many reasons why to hate the movie, but that's one of them because none of the characters in Avatar are white. They're all some sort of Asian. And that's one of the reasons why it gets hated. But that's no different than casting Annabeth as black when she's supposed to be white. That's not different. It's the exact same thing. And I just find it very hypocritical when you hate that they whitewash a cast when they're doing the same thing, just opposite. I mean, it's just very hypocritical in my opinion.
No, 100%. I'm glad you said something like that. I was at first concerned you were going to be like, oh, this is great. And I was going to be like, okay, I don't want to say anything. But you're wrong.
No, I mean, I'm with you on this. Like, I just feel like, I mean, if you're gonna get mad for them casting a white actress for a black role, then you should, it's the exact same thing. And yeah, maybe you want more. I get the fact you might want more representation, but that's not the way to go about doing it. Just add more representation and new content, not try to change old content into representation.
Exactly. And yeah, it really is just like,
And it's
like, don't expect us to like your decision,
right? So I'm a little nervous about that, but I am happy that they cast actual 12-year-olds or kids
this time
because they're
around,
supposed to be 12. That's one thing that was the most hated in Percy Jackson movies, because they aged them up to 17, and they're not supposed to be 17. So
yeah. I mean, but I did hear people say Logan Lerman was the right casting, just the wrong time. But I hear some people saying they really want him to be cast as Poseidon. I don't know if they would do that, but a lot of people are like, please do it. I don't know if they'll do it though.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna watch the show. I'm just that actor kid, the one who's gonna play Percy Jackson. I watched him in that new Ryan Reynolds time travel movie on Netflix, and I did not like him. He was kind of a brat. He was supposed to be a brat in the movie. I just don't know. I don't know if I really like him as an actor, as a kid actor. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm judging too harshly on one role, because I'm sure there are plenty of actors I've watched who they've had plenty of bad roles. So, but at this point, because of who they cast as Percy Jackson, and it's just a kid I don't really like seeing on screen, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it.
If I like the book series, I'm gonna at least try to give it a try.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if I'm like, I won't watch it, and then I watch the whole thing. That's usually how I roll. I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to read the books. I will watch the movies, Especially if it's something I'm not particularly interested in. I'm not going to dedicate all that time just to find out what happens and then be like, oh, well, I just, spent hours upon hours on these books I didn't even want to read versus, a movie or two wouldn't hurt,
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but I've got a few videos on planned out. So I still have my booktube Q&A. It's just I haven't done it. Like, I have all the questions, everything sorted out, my questions, answers, all that sort of thing. It's just I have to film it. But the video that's going to be, because like I said, Tuesday is going to be my 2022 TBR when that comes out. But then the next Friday, my plan is to do my May wrap up. So I'll talk about The Marriage Test, The Spanish Love Deception, and Bad Boys Break Hearts. So I'll talk about the books I read, which should be good. I don't know if I'll do a book haul because I have a few books. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. And then there's this one video I liked drafting a little while ago, like a couple days, week ago, whatever. Did I read the books in my TBR, reacting to old TBR videos and just seeing how many books I actually read,
Fun.
Like, yeah, I had a plan and, I was pretty intrigued by the percentage. I won't say what it is because I want you to watch it and everyone else to watch it. But, it was cool to see that and kind of like, sometimes I go back to my old videos, but it was kind of cool for that point to just be like, oh, look at these videos, look at these books and everything like that, which is nice. And I kind of want to go back to 2020 and 2021 and just kind of like do a little short talk about all those books I read, because most of them I didn't really do a video review on. So I kind of want to talk about those. And then I kind of want to talk about the shows I've watched, since 2022 started. So I'll do like separate ones, January through May. So that's kind of my goal at this point. And that's a good chunk of videos. Like, that's about 12 or something, about 12, not including my 2022 TBR. So that could set me up for like 6 weeks. You know, that's a pretty good little scheduled time as long as I make those videos. But so that should be good. I really hope I can stay up to date because I would like to be more consistent with my videos. It is fun. It's just with this video, I literally told my parents after I basically finished editing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I literally said, I am spent. I am done. This edit killed me. I need a couple days to recover. Like, I mean, this video has been insane. Like, the footage was like an hour, 3 minutes at least, maybe an hour 5. I was able to cut it down, but it's still 41 minutes, 41 and a half minutes. Again, I'd have to cut out a couple tweaks and, you know, whatever, but it's just like, are you insane? How is this video so long? But I did, you know, I did have some good things to chat about the books, and then also like I went off on a tangent, kind of talk about some things with my reading experience. But it is just kind of crazy. It's like, how did this video get so freaking long?
I mean, I said I just filmed my first underrated series highlight. And I chose Seekers to do first. Obviously, there's Aaron Hunter's books. They do it with arcs, and there's like 6 books each arc. So I split. So I'm gonna do 2 different videos for Seekers for the first 6 books, and then for the second 6 books. So because if I did all 6 books in one video, man, that video would have been long. But even with just 6 books, this video ended up being long. I mean, I love Seekers, so I tend to go on rants because I'm very passionate about it. And let me see how long the video was because I don't remember, but it was a bit of a chunky one. Let's see. Okay, it was 42 minutes.
Yeah. Crazy how long videos can go for, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it was.
Just 42 minutes of me ranting on Seekers, and then the second video I do for the other 6 books is probably going to be around that size as well. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy how long videos can be. But I just wanted to say, so yeah, coming back from vacation, I was a little disappointed in my vacation. Like I said, there was this one day my family went to visit some relatives, and I was just like, I really don't want to go. So, but I didn't have a car, and you know, I'm younger than 25, so it's not like I can rent a car. So I was kind of just stuck at the hotel, but I was like, this is the perfect time to watch Stranger Things 4. But like I said, that was too intense. Like there was some good stuff and some bad stuff and some creepy stuff that I did not want to deal with at all. But anyway, so I did that. I saw 2 friends of mine, saw some family friends, but yeah, it was just kind of like, it was too short of a trip to really fully enjoy it, you know? Like, I wish it was longer. I wanted to enjoy it more, but it was nice that it was like pretty hot in Illinois for the trip and everything. But yeah, like the second we got back in Florida, it just rains. It's like, of course, I come back and it starts raining. Typical. But you know, it was kind of raining. I guess it didn't really rain today, but then it got really hot, and it's like, yeah, this thing, it's just like one of those melodramatic situations where it's like crying all that rain, and then it's like all bright and happy, and all the sun is shining like crazy. But anyway, so I was just gonna say, coming back from vacation so far is pretty exciting. I was able to edit the It's Not Summer Without You reading vlog, and I'm glad I put it out. I'm very pleased so far with the performance of the video, that most of the time it's saying the click-through rate is like more than usual, and so several people have watched it, which I'm very happy about. I hope more people do. I shall see what happens. And then I'm glad that my 2022 TBR, that I'm basically done editing that one, and yeah, I started this new book. So some things are going well, which I'm very excited about.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, like I said, I have a few videos filmed, just not uploaded yet. I on both channels because I have a second channel. I think I told you, right?
Yeah,
Um, and some of the ones I have on my booktube, other than the underrated series one, I have a video where I reacting to 5-star reviews of books I hate and reacting to 1-star reviews of books I love, which
I love those things.
that was interesting to say the least.
Hmm. It is interesting how different people's opinions are.
Yeah.
Would you like to end at 10:30, or would you prefer to do another sprint and then call it a night?
Um, I don't know. Are you good for another sprint?
Yeah, I can definitely do
Okay.
it. I was just
Yeah,
wondering
okay.
about your opinion right now.
Yeah, I can do another one. I want to get a little further in my book. I'm
Yeah, me
almost
too.
50 pages, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this book. And I didn't even know about it until I went to Barnes and Noble last month. So I'm very happy that I went there and I ended up finding this book. I'm like, yes, good book.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
again, I really don't want to be scared or freaked out. I'll be mad if they freak me out. Using me the creeps too much. I don't like that. But I
Yeah.
think it's really the visuals. And that's why I think horror movies are too much, or at least disturbing horror movies are too much. And that's why I'm hoping it doesn't get too freaky in the book. But I know sometimes descriptions, you can picture it enough in your head where it's like, it's almost like a movie and it's like, don't scare me, guys. Please don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking my book so far. It's still really at the beginning, so there's still a lot of explaining to do. I mean, the world itself, you know how a lot of times in fantasy they have a lot of explaining to do for the world and stuff, but the world part is already explained because people who are reading this has probably already seen Avatar and Legend of Korra, so they understand the world, they understand the avatars and all of it. Um, all we're doing is getting the explaining they have to do is getting into Kyoshi's background, which we didn't get that much into
Okay.
besides her avatar abilities. So the explaining that is going on is learning more about Kyoshi, which is obviously important because if this is going to be about Kyoshi, we need to understand Kyoshi a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about Aang or Korra, the other avatars we've seen. It's about Kyoshi, so it's time to learn more about her and her past. Um, someone just told her that she might be the avatar. They're keeping it a secret right now because they're not sure and they don't want to bring up this whole debacle if it turns out not to be true. But I mean, us fans obviously know that it is true because we've seen it. We know she's the avatar because there can only be one avatar per lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and I'm a little happy that my theory was kind of true. Like
Yeah.
I kind of was a little, I wasn't 100% sure, but I was like, what else could it be? And yeah, so my theory was true. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I'm really curious about like what book I'll read next. Again, like I said, I think I'll read Uglies next, but after that, I mean, I know I'm priority 2 for the hold on the love hypothesis, and I know that person is supposed to return that either June 9th or 10th, so the next person, the one before me, will get it. And I don't know how long they'll have it for. Like, is it going to be 2 weeks or a solid 3 weeks? I would guess possibly 3 weeks, which has me a little bummed out, which would mean I couldn't read it this month.
Yeah,
But I'll see what happens. But I definitely think with some of these books, like that book that was super fast paced and kind of trashy and blah, I didn't like it, that Bad Boys Break Hearts, that's a perfect book for Kindle, a perfect book for ebook. But there are some books that it's just better to read physically, you know? It just
yeah.
depends.
I prefer physically reading, anyways. After this, I'm going to go to the library and get the sequel because I don't have the money to buy the sequel right now, and get When We Were Magic so I can buddy
Nice.
read that.
Oh
So
yeah, because you're reading that with Robin. Okay, so it is 30, and then we'll meet back up at 00. So
awesome.
happy reading, everyone. All right, how were your sprints?
Good, yeah. I got to page 85, so I made a lot of progress today. 85 pages.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't end up reading anything this sprint. I was just kind of lazing around chilling. But I guess, getting excited, ready for bed, because today was a long day. But I am proud of myself. I worked painstakingly to, edit that video. And I got good progress into my book, 31 pages. So
That's good.
I'm very happy and I'm glad I'm enjoying it. I was expecting this book wouldn't, wouldn't go for me since it's so out of my comfort zone, but actually it's pretty good.
That's
So I'm very
good.
happy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my book. I'm sure it'll get. It's a bit. I won't say boring exactly because it's keeping my interest, but not as exciting as I thought it would be. But I think that's just because you're still trying to learn more about Kyoshi at this point. I think once everyone learns she's the Avatar and she starts to become the Kyoshi we all know from the show, then it'll get more interesting, which I'm excited for.
Awesome.
I'm tired too.
Yeah.
I only really slept a few hours, so
Yeah, I think this is a good stopping point since
yeah.
it's 11. We did some good sprints. We
Yeah.
chatted a good chunk. And to anyone who joined us or will play this back, it was great to have you guys here. I hope you guys read a ton, and we hope to see you next time. I'm pretty sure Robin said we'll do a writing sprint on next Tuesday. Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah, I'll be on Tabby's channel.
Okay, so we'll do that. Gonna do a writing sprint, maybe a reading sprint on Saturday. We shall see what happens. But thank you, everyone who tuned in. It was great to have you guys here.
Thank you for having
And
me.
yeah, of course. And so glad everyone could read as much as they did. Or if you did any other activity, I hope that was a fun time. Great having you guys here. Looking forward to the next one. Bye bye.
See ya.